Welcome to the Cavalier Corner, a show in which we'll be discussing all kinds of fun topics related to student life. My name is Juliana,
And I'm Camille.
and today, this is our part two of our Halloween spooky season special. We'll be talking about a few of our favorite horror movies and also a few urban legends.
Woo. Okay, go, Juliana, give us some history on Halloween. Because I'm Jamaican. We don't have Halloween in my country. So how did Halloween started? And imagine like I'm someone that is the first time experiencing Halloween, which that has happened where I was like, Halloween? What's that?
Okay, well, I'm from Paraguay and we also don't celebrate Halloween. Just I was obsessed with it growing up. I just was. I liked spooky, scary things. So I researched in depth about it. And from where I can remember, or what I researched for this episode too, Halloween started off as a Celtic celebration. So it's like ancient. And it was called Samhain. And it was basically a celebration of life and death and honoring ancestors. And it was one of like their most important holidays that they celebrated with like a 3 days and 3 nights kind of feast. It went on for a long time, and it was one of the more important holidays, and they had like a bunch of activities planned out. They had bonfires, which fire for them was very symbolic of like spiritualism, so they had those. And then actually kind of had some traditions like trick-or-treating with like in a different connotation. So kids would sort of dress up as like their monsters and kinds of things to protect themselves, or like parents would dress their kids up to protect them from the spirits that would roam the earth, because that's what they believe, that the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead was like the thinnest at that point. So they wanted to protect the young ones because spirits had sort of like a reputation in their culture to just snatch children away. So they would do that, and then they would kind of do like a similar kind of thing of trick or treating, where they would go and ask for like nuts and fruits and things just like for fun. And they would also light candles and have like they would have a near the end of the festival they would have like a gigantic feast, and they would put a plate or two aside for their like dearly beloved like departed ones, and they believed that once they had that meal that their like lost family
They're
members,
gone for a
like they would be there, and they would honor them that way, and they would put like candles in like their front door and leave gifts outside for their loved ones. They also didn't want to like enrage any of the spirits because well, if you enrage one of your like loved ones, then they could easily turn against you and like do something bad to you. So they wanted to like honor them, make sure they were happy and welcomed, and that was kind of like the whole point of the festival. And yeah, that's basically the story of Halloween.
Halloween. Wow. Well, for my research purposes, I um, did some Halloween movies. Um, a few of these I've seen myself. Let us start with, let us see, Halloween Town. Okay, so I'm young. So my first, I think that has, and honestly, to be honest, I believed Halloween Town, like it was just, I never knew Halloween really existed because I lived back in Jamaica, and I just thought it was just a movie about, a celebration that was ages ago. I didn't know how serious it was here
Right.
until I actually start living here, and I was like, oh, so you guys do dress up on the road. Wow. So there was like that culture shock where we were like, okay. But Halloween Town is more like a kids movie. You I think it's one of those watched, it's a Disney movie. Wasn't it Disney?
Yeah, it's a Disney movie from the 90s, I think.
It was from 1998.
Yes.
So yeah, and I was real young. But they had like, I know they had like Halloween Town, and then they had like Halloween High, wasn't it?
Okay, so they have Halloween 1, 2, 3. They have a lot of them. They
Yeah,
keep,
they have like,
and it's like Return to Halloween Town, which was one of my favorites. And then it's just there's a lot of Halloween Town movies. Yes.
I can't, I'm gonna tell you the exact one. Like now I'm gonna search because I know which one. I probably haven't watched all of them, but when I heard Halloween Town, or when I, because they have this thing in our office that asks you what's your favorite movie during, Halloween. And I was like, I only know one movie to be, that's Halloween,
Theme.
and that was Halloween Town. Yeah, it was the one from 1998, the same one. Yes.
Yeah, they were original.
Bernie and her kids got a shock when they follow grandma home to Halloween Town. That's the one I know. That was really great.
I have like, well, I
Um,
can't say that I watched all of them, but I watched quite a few of them, and I loved them as a kid. I mean, they were a little spooky when I was like 6, but then it was just kind of like a fun thing to watch during during the month of October. I make a case in point of watching a few scary movies if I can, if I have the time. I used to watch one every single night.
how do you go to sleep after this?
Well, because it's movies that I've already watched before, and so Halloween Town is not scary. It's a kids movie.
No, you said you watch like Halloween movies before you go to bed. I'm like,
horror movies and things like throughout October. I used to, when I was in high school, watch one every single night. I don't have the energy or the time to do that anymore.
college student.
Changed life. But I still try to watch like a few at least, and Halloween Town is definitely on the list. But
there we go. Another one that came highly recommended, because I did a survey among my office. I used the board that we had up and then got ideas, and then I added ideas from other ambassadors and office managers and stuff. And the other one that came up was Nightmare on Elm Street. Oh,
with Johnny Depp. Yes, the original.
Yes, this one was the 2010 one.
Oh, okay. So
Freddy Krueger's world, nightmares can actually kill you. So maybe sip on a glass of wine while you watch this modern remake of the 1984 thriller. I cannot watch these things and go to bed. How can you watch an horror movie and then go to sleep? No, you have to watch the horror movie and then you watch a comedy or something, like watch an episode or two of comedy that changes your mindset. Okay, and then you go to bed.
Movies, like horror movies, don't terrify me. But if I'm like, so there's YouTube, there's sort of like a community where people tell like scary stories, either based on real life or just like myths and legends. If I listen to one of those videos before going to bed, I'm not going to bed. Because it's different for me having like reading those are like Reddit stories that people post, and some are real, some are not. You can tell which ones are like, you know, iffy, kind of fake, but they're still kind of terrifying, because even if it's like a short story, people they can write very creepy things. So it's like those scare me. Horror movies don't, because I know they're fake.
I mean, but okay, let me try to reason out my thinking too. You know it's fake at the time you're watching it, but your subconscious, well, my subconscious is very slow, where it does not get the difference between real and fake. When I watch anything, and it doesn't even have to be a horror movie. It can be me watching an action movie and then something horrific happens in that movie. My brain is like, so let's go back to this that you watched and let me scare you.
So when you're laying down all comfy in your bed and then the movie pops in your head and it's like, no.
So I have to, before I go to bed, I honestly have to make sure I am thinking of great, beautiful, positive, fairy thinking, and I have to read positive things before I go to bed, or else my subconscious will take over and I will just appear.
You'd have nightmares.
One morning I woke up and I have this movie that I need to write. And I told my friend about the movie, and she named it Killer Grandma, because it was like, I don't know what I was thinking or what I read before I went to bed, but I had this whole dream about this killer grandma. Like she was just going around killing people. And then she's so sweet and innocent that when you look at her, you can't believe that she's the one murdering people. So, and I was like, and I had like an interview with her, and then I woke up, and how dreams work. You can't go back. Like, I would like to say pause. Let me go through my day. And then when I go back to bed, we can resume and go to the interview.
Yeah.
No. So there were so many unanswered questions in that dream where I'm like, okay, Killer Grandma. And that was her name. I was like, Killer Grandma. I was ready to just, ask her, why are you doing this? Why are you killing people? Like, I was ready.
You wanted the whole explanation for that dream.
So my friend was like, well, Camille, you need to write that into a movie. or a book. She was like, you need to jot that down. I'm like, well, I need to go back and get some more information before.
I think children in scary movies or horror movies scare me to death.
Ooh, so that goes to my next
Okay.
one. Wait, where is it? Child's Play.
Chucky.
Chucky. Let me tell you, Chucky gave me a lot of dreams, bad dreams. All right, so okay, for those who are listening, imagine Toy Story, but without the well and all the things that give it Disney's stamp of approval. Instead, a Woody and Buzz. This movie follows a young boy who receives a doll that takes on the dynamic life of its own. Have you watched Chucky and his wife? Is that Chucky's too?
I don't know. I haven't watched all of them. I know I watched like the original one when I was a kid. And I was
1988 one?
I wasn't supposed to, but it was on TV and I was unsupervised. I was having unsupervised TV time at 7. So of course I was gonna watch the thing that I I couldn't watch.
Did you have a scary dream?
Oh, I couldn't sleep. I had to take all of my dolls away from my room, put them in a box, and then my mom woke up to a box outside of my room that was all of my dolls that were just there. It's just like, excuse me, what did you do? I used to have them in my room. It wasn't gonna happen.
Yeah, I had a doll and its name was Chucky. My mom named it Chucky just because my doll's, his head was just missing, like not the head, but the brain. Okay. So there's like a hole in his brain and it's empty, and then he has like a little falls air around the side.
That's a creepy doll.
So my mom was like, "You get Chucky out of here." And I go, "No, Chucky needs love too."
No, he doesn't. Oh.
But yeah, I've watched a lot of Child's Play. Like I think I've watched all of them. Ask me if I remember them. Nope. But I think at one point it was one of my favorite movies. Like, when people used to ask you, hey, what's your favorite movie?
Yeah.
Something with Chucky in it.
Something with Chucky. Love that.
Okay. And another one that I got recommended was Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
So that was a 1988 one. You've watched that?
That is a Tim Burton movie, I believe. I think I've seen it. I don't remember. I think I saw it as a kid. I should really rewatch it, but yes.
I agree. So Beetlejuice tells the tale of a recently deceased couple who got stuck hunting their former residence. Things take a turn when the house is purchased by another couple and their teen daughter, Lydia. After unsuccessful attempts to scare them off, the spirit enlists the help of Beetlejuice, a exorcist? What's that word? Exorcist. There we go. Exorcist with an evil agenda. Okay, I might, but the thing is, I have to watch these during the day, like early mornings, and then go about my day.
That's scary. Beetlejuice is not too bad as far as I remember it. But I don't take my word for it because I don't usually.
Your level of scary and my level of scary is different. Like I like wrong term.
Yeah. I've seen too many scary things that some things just don't scare me at all, and others really, really do. Like one of my favorite shows as a kid, like literally 7, 8, 9, 10, from that range of time, A Haunting. And it was a Discovery Channel show which talked about like real stories, and then it was like the format of like the paranormal survivor sitting down and telling the whole story and then having like a reenactment of it, like actors reenacted the thing as they were telling
the stories.
Yeah, and that was my favorite TV show.
So is that like when they went to all the various haunted houses to, like, they tell them something is in there and then they go?
No, that's kind of like a ghost hunter type of show. A Haunting was just like the paranormal survivors, sharing their spooky like stories, and there was like demons and then like weird things happening in the house and like spirits that were angry, and some were like in plantations and others were just like houses that had like cemeteries around it and things like. Yes.
I lived across a cemetery. For someone who's scared of dead people, I think it was for a period of a couple of years. But I think, yeah, at that time, my grandmother moved house. And I think I lived with my mom, so I only spent like holidays with my grandmother. And she lived in front of a cemetery. And best believe, I survived that. I did better than I assumed I could.
Right.
There was a lot of distractions. I didn't sleep alone. Best believe. I slept with my grandma. I was like, nope, I don't want to sleep alone. So, but I overcame it. Like, gradually I was like shifting away. I remember that was.
Now that you're talking about cemeteries, that brings me to one of the urban legends that I remember as a kid listening back home. So we have a lot of like plaza areas, which are like parks, public parks. They just don't have a lot of hills on them. So they're more cement than anything. And we have one that's kind of like, it's in the capital. It's one of the few ones that we have there. And it used to be a cemetery. But then the cemetery got removed and the park was put in place. So they put the park there in honor of like one of our historical heroes, and they named it after him. And the park is there now. It's still a park, and apparently, or as people say at least, not all of the bodies were able to be recovered because some of them were like too deep underground because it was a very old cemetery that was there. And so some bodies, most of them got moved, but others are still there. They just don't have a grave anymore. They're just underground. And so people that work in the area that like work late nights and then they have to go through the park to get to like this other main streets kind of just feel like eyes are following them when they cross over. Like you can see sometimes like ghostly figures and things. And it's just like during the daytime, like it's completely fine. Like kids play there. It's whatever. But at night, it's when it turns completely dark.
No, I can't do. So even now, like me going to live near a cemetery for the rest of my life, no. No way. No.
I don't want to do that either, but I think it's just too creepy and dark.
Yeah, that's creepy. Like, why would you? First of all, how do you just dig up a cemetery? Like, no respect for the dead, people. No respect for the dead. We need to respect them.
They did it a long time ago. I mean, they really did it. It's not like it's the urban legend part comes into like the ghosts and things, but they really did just dig up a cemetery and put a park there. So
it's rude.
But I think it was because it was like getting overcrowded, so they had to move them somewhere else, and they moved them to like the big cemetery that we have, which is gigantic. So they put them there, but
no,
they still move them. So
for the persons who are going to Jamaica, there's a hotel in Jamaica with the same exact background where it wasn't like a big cemetery, but it was like a family cemetery. Like they have different, like if say your last name was Brown and all the family that died from that family. So their friends, their spouses, kids and stuff would be buried there. So I've been there once, the beautiful Grand Palladium that's located in Lucy, Hanover, between Montego Bay and I'm talking like y'all have been there a million times. That cemetery has that hotel has the same background. There's a portion of the hotel that was once a family cemetery. And they were like, you know what? We need to, because it's right in front of the seaside, like the beach. So they're like, you know what? We don't care about y'all. Let me just move you guys from here and just build a beautiful hotel there. And I'm like, when I went, I didn't sleep there. For your information, it was during the day.
Okay.
And, I went and because it's honestly beautiful, but I was like, the history of it, I'm like, no, can't do. I'd rather go places and not know the history than know the history. Because if I do, my brain just.
I feel like if I want to see a ghost or something, I'd rather go somewhere and just like blindly go there and not have any idea of what's going on. And then if I see something, then I'm not going to think, okay, so this is just my brain because I know the backstory. Then I want to see something and then research about it and then be completely terrified because then I realize that what I saw is real and not my imagination playing tricks on me. That's what
Awesome.
I want to do.
I agree. So do you have any more legends for us?
Okay, so there's one that terrified me when I read about it like a few years ago, and it's about the black-eyed children. So they're supposed to be spirits that show up as kids with black eyes, and they want to like they show up to you at night or like in the afternoon whenever you're alone. And if you're in like a confined space, like in your car or in your house, they want you to let them in. So they ask you to let them in.
Can you let me in, please?
Thank you. And nobody knows what happens if you let them in, but they're eerie and terrifying enough that like people that have had encounters with them say that they feel like anxiety rush through them when they see them and they look at their eyes because they're completely blacked out, like no eye, no nothing. And they it's kind of like they reach out to open like the door or wherever they are, like to let them in, and then halfway through, like before they get to the point of opening the actual door, they realize what they're doing and they kind of back out or freak out. Like and then it's just like the kids are just there staring and like knocking and insisting to like be let in, which no thank you. No.
See, there's a reason why nobody who lets them in survives to talk.
Well, I love this. This has been incredibly fun. Thank you, Camille.
This is your whole personality right here. Scary stuff.
Yes, this is really me. This is my genre. I love this. So thank you so much, Camille, for indulging me on like a part 2 of this Halloween spooky season. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in and listening. Of course, if you want to find out more information about events we have going on, we do have some Halloween events going on. So definitely check those out at Get Involved at JCCC. We are JCCC Student Life on Instagram and Facebook, and Cavalier Corner on all podcast platforms. And as always, thank you so much for listening, you guys.
Bye.
Bye.